Hello everyone, welcome to Love Talk. I'm James.
I am Helena.
And today we have a cracking show ready for you because we're going to be talking about dating. And who doesn't like to date?
Those butterflies.
That's
right.
You know,
going.
The roses, the chocolates, everyone loves it. But dating is a little bit more than just roses and chocolates. And by the way, for the first time ever, we're going to have here in the show a panel. And they will tell us what they think, in their opinion, that dating is. We dated.
Yeah, we did.
We dated for about a year. We're still dating, although now we are dating and we're married as well. But when do you have to say, okay, now it's about time to commit? That's what we're going to be discussing today. So let's walk across and meet our panel, and they'll be telling us what they think about their views on dating. The thing about dating is that when you start getting to know that person, the first few times can be quite nerve-wracking, as Helena and I found out in the beginning, right?
Very much.
I remember
I used to feel so nervous every time.
And I remember our first date. After having something to eat, we were walking along the beach, and I tried to hold her hand, and my palms were a little bit sweaty because I was so nervous. But you know, when you date, there's all these emotions, right?
Yes, it's natural. And I remember I didn't even eat anything that evening.
Maybe slowly, but you ate.
Something, you know, I can't remember. I know I was really starving by the end of towards the end of the date, because I was so like, oh my gosh, do I pick this up with my hand or?
So there is a danger when you're dating, when you start dating, that you get lost in all these emotions, the fact that it's something new, and when you're nervous, some things go wrong. You trip, you fall, and that's where some comic moments happen in your date. Right? We have our panel here with us, and I want to find out from you, does anyone here have a funny moment that happened to you on a date? Michelle, you were telling us what happened.
We were walking back from the cinema to the train station, and there was this huge tree trunk, like the tree, and then the trunk came out of the ground, and I'm a little bit clumsy and I tripped over it, but really badly, not just any ordinary trip. I almost fell over, and he was laughing at me for the whole time that we were walking back to the station, and he couldn't believe that I'd been embarrassed myself in such a way. And even I was laughing myself, but I was just thinking in my head, what have I done?
So he was polite enough to laugh at you the whole way, right?
But the thing is, I don't mind, because it shows me that he was being natural, because if he didn't laugh, I think if you tripped over, I would laugh. So for me, it was okay, and it made me feel a bit better about myself, the fact that we could actually be so normal with each other.
You know?
Yeah.
So this is your current boyfriend,
yes,
right?
It is, yes.
For those who don't know, Michelle here dates Julian's twin brother, right?
How weird is that?
So there's never been any mix-up?
No, because the thing is, I've known him for quite a while before we started dating, so I could tell them apart easily.
Oh,
yeah.
Good. I've known them for quite some time, and I can't tell them apart. So
yeah, it's easy for me.
Okay. So, I mean, when you do date, there are do's and don'ts, right? Helena, I mean, what if in our first dates, what would put you off if I would have behaved in that way?
If you were too serious, I think it's nice when you crack a joke to break the ice a little bit, when you are just being yourself.
But not try to be a stand-up comedian, right?
No, but just for example, an incident happened to her when she tripped over the tree thing on the floor. Laugh about it, make a joke out of it, so she feels more comfortable. Then you know what? Let me trip over as well. Let's all trip over. You come up with something, and I think this is really important.
But I want to find out from the men, when you are, maybe you, Joseph, you're an experienced gentleman, right? If you want to grab onto the microphone, tell us, who's more under pressure when you're on a date, on a first date? Who's more under pressure in that environment? Because the man wants to impress the lady also wants to impress the man, but the lady has that little way of being more subtle. Who's more under pressure?
I feel that the guy is always more under pressure, because
if you could just put the microphone close. That's right, yeah.
I feel that the guy is always more under pressure, because obviously he's the one who's invited the lady out, and he's always looking at everything that he does, everything that he says, trying to, you know,
she's
to
analyzing him, isn't it?
Yeah, keep himself, you know, not to let too much of himself or give too much of himself away, and not to like be too closed up, so that no conversation can happen or anything like that. So it's very difficult for the guy, obviously, and because you don't know the person, it's not like you can't just be natural yourself. You're trying to find out. You're trying to coax things out, trying to make things.
You're trying to coax things out.
Yeah.
But actually, the best thing is actually to be natural, right? You say you can't be natural, but you have to be natural.
Yeah, but you have to. You can't let everything out. You can't.
Right.
You can't just go there and start.
You like to
saying
take it slow.
Your whole life story, whatever.
Yeah.
You have to, you know, if you're talking about the first date. I mean, after you've broken the ice, so to say, then you know things will come more naturally. But on the first date, the pressure is usually there, and it is not. It's not easy.
You're right in saying that you can't just tell the person your whole life story.
Yeah.
But ladies, am I right in saying that you want the gentleman to be as natural and as much of himself as he can be? Is that right? Yes. Joanne?
Yeah, I think so, because for me, if like we're just there on a date and the guy's not speaking, because like he said, I personally think the guy is more under pressure because they're sort of taking the lead. They want to impress the girl, take them out, treat you nice, pull out your chair, open the door, things like that. So for me, if we're sitting down and talking, if I'm, you know, so, you know, how's your family, asking them questions and trying to get them to speak, then I'm like, okay. Because for me, if the conversation flows and it bounces, that's important.
Okay. And Helena, this thing of pulling out the chair and being a gentleman, I mean, we're in 2013, right?
Yeah.
And women want equality to men, so shouldn't women sometimes pull the chair for the men as well?
When we say we want to be equal, we don't mean that. You know, we still like to receive a nice, you know, be well treated well, but you know, we still want to be.
Actually, in some cultures, some women are offended. We were even talking about this the other day.
Yes.
In some cultures, some women are offended when you offer to pay the bill.
There's some
Can
countries.
you believe that?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Joy just asked which culture is that. We were saying when we were.
Are we allowed to say?
Yeah, when we were in Sweden for a while. This can be a little bit of a touchy-feely subject because they feel that they're made to feel inferior if the man pays, that he earns more. So it's a bit of a mind game. So do you think that still today when men are dating, women are dating, that the man should be still a gentleman?
Absolutely, I think it should go without saying. But the reason for that is because I think it's an indicator of how things would be in the future. And I think as females, as women, we look to men to take the lead. And therefore, if they can't take the lead in small situations, how we have the faith that they can do it in bigger situations. And it's just an indicator, I think, of where somebody really stands generally.
But you know something, I think that men, they are a bit getting confused, they are feeling confused. I've heard many say that, you know, I don't know what they want. They want us to be this, but then at the same time they want to be independent. They want to. So sometimes this impedes them to take a step and invite them on a date because they feel intimidated.
Yeah.
So
now the thing is this: Helena and I today we went to a restaurant today before we filmed this show, and we want to show you what happened. Actually, you're going to see there the do's and don'ts when you are on a date. What you should do and what you shouldn't do. We're going to watch this video. And then we're going to come back and talk more about this.
like 20-something cousins. And then I have got an auntie who I grew up with. She used to take me to school, and then when I, so I went on to college. And then I moved into a bigger city, which is, further away from the capital. And here I am today. I mean, I'm doing this and that. Well, I came to the UK 13 years ago, and I'm now working for a charity. And I'm enjoying it. What about you?
Well, I also work for a charity.
Oh.
Yeah, so we have a little bit in common. And I like, in my spare time, I like to do sports and to...
Oh, I love sports.
I know this is only our first date, but I want to tell you how beautiful you are. You're really beautiful.
Thank you.
And I love your skin. Your skin is soft. I like your hair. Please, tell me, where do you live? So, what about your family? Tell me a little bit about your family.
Well, they live abroad. They don't live here. And I keep in contact with them quite a lot, actually.
My family also live abroad, and I think we have a lot in common. Maybe we should meet for another date.
Yeah,
what do you think?
Yeah. I love that, yes.
Okay. So, what do you do in your spare time?
Well, I like to go out with my friends. Sometimes I go to the movies. Oh, hold on, please. Got text. Sorry. Yeah, you were saying?
Okay.
Oops.
Okay. Do you want to put that down for a second?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Well, I like to go to the cinema. Sometimes I go out with my friends. Oh, sorry. Oh, it's just work. Never mind.
That's good. Thanks. Now we can talk.
Yes.
How's your food?
Very tasty, actually.
Can I have some?
Yeah.
Can I have some? Wow. Great.
Can I taste yours?
No. So, how's your food?
Tasty, actually. Looks really nice.
Would you like to try mine? Yeah?
Thank you.
Is that good?
Delicious, actually.
Welcome back. We want to thank the staff and the manager there at Cercle restaurant in Knightsbridge that were kind enough to allow us to record that video that you just saw there, that we had a lot of fun recording. Actually,
our special date.
Yes, and we're actually nothing like what you saw there in the bad examples, right?
No, we are in the good examples.
In the good examples, yes. And you actually have a list of do's and don'ts in the date, right?
Yes, things
go
to do
that
you should do. Be attentive to your date. Maintain eye contact. Plan your date well ahead, so you know what you're going to do and everything.
So when you say be attentive, if the person tells you their name, don't forget the name. That's the first thing. Has anyone here been on a date where the person forgot your name? No? Good.
That would be me, maybe. Meet in a public place on your first date. This is important for safety reasons. Offer to split the bill, although you want him to pay.
If you're a man, don't offer to split the bill. No matter what you do, don't split the bill. If you're a lady, offer to split the bill, but we know you don't really want to split the bill, right?
At least you offer to do it, you know.
By the way, just a second. Oh, Deborah, you were telling us about an interesting experience you had on a date, right?
Yeah, I went out with a guy and he invited me to go on cinema, which was on Valentine's Day, or like the Saturday was the Valentine's Day of that Saturday. And we went to the cinema, then he went in front and he paid for his own ticket. And obviously, like, I was thinking that, you know, he's going to pay for our ticket because, you know, you invited me to come.
He asked you out, right?
Yeah, he asked me out to come on a date and it's Valentine's Day. And then I went there, he paid for his ticket and I just assumed, okay. I have to pay for my own ticket. And then even after, he had the cheek to ask me, oh, do you want me to pay for your popcorn? And I was thinking, no way, you don't want to pay for the ticket, don't pay for the popcorn. I didn't say anything, but in my head, I was just, you know, so angry and just cussing him.
Probably if he would have paid for the ticket, maybe you would have said, oh, it's okay, I could have paid for mine, but you didn't really mean it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so guys offer to pay for the bill, ladies offer to split the bill, but we know you don't really mean it, right?
Right. So something else is crack jokes. I like that one.
Yeah, just be relaxed and be funny.
Yes, and also discuss heavier topics. You know, don't just be, oh, what's your name? Where are you from? Try to have a more interesting
conversation.
Yeah, but don't go too deep. Okay, don't go too, you know, too. Yeah, you know, keep it light.
Don't talk about, you know, the war in Syria and, you know,
or maybe he's
the
from
budget reform.
Or maybe the person's country was at war, or is at war, and then they said, no, it's your country's fault. No,
Yeah.
I think it's.
You also have a list of don'ts, right?
Yes, that
What
one
not
is
to
quite
do on a
long.
date.
So don't act distracted during the date. So pay attention to what the person is saying and everything. Don't turn your date into a therapy session. This one is very.
Actually, Joy, you said something like this, that sometimes on a date you can feel like you're being interrogated, right?
Yes.
In an interview.
It's an informal interview. That's how it feels. Compare how you feel going to an interview with going on your first date. Quite often, it's, yeah, you might have butterflies and all, but I get butterflies with interviews as well. So, but yeah, it depends on the questions that you're asked as well. I've been interrogated full on for a few minutes and they didn't even break it up with a few jokes or anything. I mean, you know, so it can be a bit full on and you can feel like your back's up against the wall a bit.
And the difference is that in a date you're supposed to feel relaxed.
Yeah.
In an interview you feel nervous. So if the person feels like they're on an interview, things are not going very well.
Or, like on a therapy session, the lady starts talking about her ex-boyfriend and how hurt she feels, you know, and talking about her mom and dad and everything. This is not ideal, okay? There's more. Don't agree for the sake of agreeing. If you don't agree with something, just say it. I mean, in a nice way.
And actually, when you have your own opinion about things, it's actually good. It means that you think for yourself. And this may seem silly, but it is important that you do think for yourself. In fact, before we started the show, Pamela, you were saying that you dated someone before, that at 40 years old. Tell us about that story.
Okay, I was dating one guy and he was in his 40s and he was still living at home with his parents. They were cooking for him, cleaning for him. You know, he had quite a good job as well, so he was earning a good salary. And I used to say to him, why are you still living at home with your mum, with your dad? I mean, can't you be independent and go out, you know, and have your own place, be independent? He goes, why should I? They do it all for me. Yeah, he had the easy life and he didn't want to give it up.
It's so much easier for him, you know.
So for me, it was a total no-no.
Yeah, so that put you off immediately. So what we want to do now is we want to find out from our panel here what dating really is about. Because when people talk about dating, we're not just talking about the first date, we're talking about dating in general for as long as that dating period lasts. People associate that with, you know, getting gifts and calls and say, no, you hang up first.
No, you do.
Yeah, everybody knows that, right? So people they associate dating with that. What we want to know from you guys, maybe you can shed some light on that, Elijah. What is dating really about for you? What should that dating period be about?
Well, if it's like the first date, well, it should be about first nerves. Obviously, if both of them not nervous, then it's not really gone on a date. And then others, it's like excitement. You know, the guy wants to prove to the girl that, you know, that he can take care of her and stuff. And basically, dating should be about knowing about each other. You know, where they came from, who they want to be and stuff, so that you can see, so that you can have an idea of if that person is really for you.
Yeah, so. And this, what you said, is important because imagine, Helena, sometimes the person gets so caught up in that and how can I say that part of being in love, although love comes a little bit later than the dating period, but you know, the gifts and so on, that they forget to check what is important. Because for example, if we were dating and if you wanted to have 5 kids and live in America,
you would be in trouble because I didn't want children. So.
Yeah, no, I'm saying if you wanted 5 kids and you wanted to live in America, I wanted 1 child and to live in England, then we would have problems later on.
Big ones.
And these are the kind of things you have. These are the kind of things you have to check when you date, right?
Yes, absolutely. You have to read the signs. You need to be, of course, don't be unfair. For example, don't judge the person, because I always say this, first impressions are not always fair. Because, you know, you broke your heel, one of these, you were telling me before the show, you went, you know, on a date or to a club or something, and then you went to meet people. So, you know, sometimes you have to give the person a little bit of, yeah, isn't it?
And you shouldn't, of course, if you're dating, on a first date, don't go and ask how many children you want to have, where do you want to live. Leave it for a little bit later.
Yes.
But eventually, for that dating period, that's the kind of things you need to find out.
Also, right? James, something else that you shouldn't do, okay, don't try to make any uninvited physical advances. Like you did one time.
Yes.
You tried to kiss me, right?
I think there was a point we had just started dating, and I went in for a kiss, and Helena did something that I never forget. She gave me her cheek, and that wasn't very nice. But don't worry, now we can kiss as much as we want.
Isn't it? Right? You have to, unless you are sure that the person is really expecting that, or you know she's ready for that, then you don't do it. Otherwise.
Yeah. But going back to what we were saying. You know, what is the dating period really about? Find out who the person is. You need to know that, because eventually if you are going to commit to them, you need to know, you know, what the plans are. Maybe not on the first date, but eventually find out where the person wants to live, how many children they want to have, find out about their family.
Her goals.
Exactly, the goals. Like the family, like Elijah said, that's very important. Julian, what is dating for you?
For me, I would say, obviously, Elijah touched on some of the points, but one of the main things for me, if I was to go in a relationship, would be to actually test a person, really. Just do things just to test a person, things that you wouldn't normally do, but to see how she would handle it, because by that, then you would know, okay, maybe she's not like this, maybe she's not like that, and you'll be able to see if she's going to be the one for you.
When you say test, what do you mean? How do you test someone?
Maybe, for example, you might, you know, how can I say, for example, you like to throw things all over the floor, and she doesn't like that. She doesn't really like that. To see if she would actually clean up after it or not, or she would argue about it, or just by that you would know.
I'll tell you, she won't like it. She will not like it.
Let me just say something. Julian is already thinking about marriage, because that's the kind of thing that happens in a marriage. That shouldn't happen. When you're dating, you don't leave things on the floor because you don't actually live with a person.
But I understand what it means. For example, how does a person react when they are angry, or when they are happy, or when something unexpected happens, isn't it?
But indeed, parents as well.
Yeah.
How they treat family.
For example, what you were saying, Julian, is really, really important. When you date, that period is for you to test a person. How do you test? For example, if there is a moment where there is a little bit of an argument, and arguments happen in every couple, but if in that little argument the guy raises his voice, stomps his fist on the table, and throws things across the room.
Red light.
You're dating and that happens. Imagine what will happen when you get married, right? So that's the kind of thing you're talking about.
Yeah.
So and the clothes on the floor can happen afterwards.
Or maybe not, to avoid you having problems. But for example, he would test the person, but it's important that both test each other.
Yeah.
Okay, so both know where they are going and if they want the same things.
Yeah. So the period of dating is not one testing the other, is you both have to see who you guys are, who, you know, the person's character. For example, during dating, a lot of people think, you know, we need to sleep together. We need to sleep together to see if we are compatible in bed. But let me tell you, in the years that we've been advising couples, we've never really advised anyone who was divorcing because they were incompatible in bed. But you do find couples who are divorcing because they didn't agree on family values. They couldn't get their finances organized. They weren't honest. These are the kind of things that people divorce over. So don't worry, because the physical commitment part of the relationship, that you have plenty of time for that. The part of dating, today we're talking about dating. What is dating really about? Just for us to summarize this program, dating is about you, like Elijah said, have fun. Enjoy yourself getting to know that person. But also, see who that person really is. Let the other person see who you are. Be honest. Like Joseph said, you may not be able to show everything about yourself on the first date, but eventually let the person know who you are. And then you can make a decision.
And never commit if you're not sure that the person is the right person for you. This is, I think, one of the most important things.
Yeah.
If you are in doubt, don't make any moves. Don't do anything yet.
Think about the dating period as the test drive for the car that you most want to buy. You take it out, you get a feel for what that car is, and if you really want it, then you buy it, you commit to it. And that's what dating is. You get to know the person. Once you're sure that that is the person for you, then you commit through marriage, through a committed relationship, and you start a life together. Okay? Stay tuned for part 2, because we will continue speaking about the matter of dating. Have a wonderful night.